Suffer from constipation, here are 3 solid reasons to ditch gluten and dairy starting today. Backed up with research. But just so you know who I am, I'm Chloe. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist and I specialize in women's gut and hormonal health. I also just won Best Nutritionist in my region. Okay, so there's no disputing that these foods are highly inflammatory foods. And most of the time, constipation is associated with inflammation. I recently talked about this in another video, but if this is your colon, which is supposed to be 3 inches in diameter, and the body has inflammation going on, the colon's going to shrink and it could only be 1 inch in diameter. This means that your stool won't fit through it. So what we have to do is reduce inflammation. So here's why I think that you should ditch gluten. It's really rich in a type of dwarf wheat called amylopectin A. And there is lots of research to show that this starch raises your blood sugar more than table sugar. Literally means you'd be better off eating a tablespoon of white sugar. If our blood sugar isn't stable, that means we're on a blood sugar roller coaster, and as a result, inflammation. Okay, number 2 is that it's hybridized in a way that it ends up with more gliadin proteins. Now, if you ever take a trip to Europe, you don't have to worry about this, but here in North America, we do. Gliadin proteins are extremely inflammatory and they make up 70% of the protein in gluten. These gliadin proteins are exactly why we're seeing an increase in wheat sensitivity, celiac disease, and leaky gut. Number 3 is that it's sprayed at harvest with glyphosate. This is a weed killer and it ends up making its way into our gut through food. Now, I have a whole entire video on why dairy makes you fat. It's backed up with research on how there's a link between eating dairy and insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a fancy way of saying that you're on that blood sugar roller coaster. All 4 of these things I just mentioned lead to inflammation. I know how hard it can be to switch to an anti-inflammatory diet, so I've made 6 months of meal plans that are anti-inflammatory with no gluten and no dairy. I also added in 5 extra bonuses to make sure that you're successful. Going gluten and dairy free for a week isn't enough. Your body needs time for the inflammation to calm down and to trust that this is actually how you're going to be feeding it from now on. And one little secret, I've lost 50 pounds 3 times. I didn't count any calories. I did it by switching to an anti-inflammatory diet, and if I can do it, you can too. If you found this video helpful, you know what to do. Follow along for daily content on all things gut health and hormones.